Hello, West Ham Network. It is Holly, and we have got a major keeper update. Fabianski has officially returned to West Ham on a contract until the end of the season. So while the intro runs, take a minute to give the thumbs up to the comments that you agree with, hit the like button down below on this video, and of course, make sure you've subscribed. It's time to talk about what this means for West Ham and for Fabianski. Let's go. So, West Ham Network, Fabianski is officially back in the building. But the big question that I have got for you is, how are you feeling about this? There's definitely two ways to take it. One, where this is an underwhelming signing, and another, that it potentially could get us out of a sticky situation this season. So as a reminder, we got rid of Fabianski at the end of the season after 7 seasons at West Ham. In his time with us, he played 216 games. He won Hammer of the Year in 2019. And of course, he was a part of the Conference League winning team. So here is what Fabianski had to say about returning. He said, "I'm really happy to be back because this club obviously means a lot to me and the people at this club as well. Seeing them again, it felt nice and beautiful in terms of what I bring. And so it's not only about me, it's about the team. I'm here to support, to keep the standards high. I have huge experience as well, so I think it can be useful. For sure, I'll continue to work the way I've always been doing, which is always hopefully at a good level. But at the same time, I understand that my role is completely different." Now, this is interesting because obviously there was the debate over who should be the first choice goalkeeper. And when it switched over to Areola, there was the frustration that obviously Fabianski wanted that for himself. But the fact that he's speaking about his position being different, I think speaks volumes about the fact that there's an understanding now, I suppose, of the role that Fabianski will be playing at West Ham. Potter also said that he is pleased at the return of Super Fab, saying that the main point is that he's still a top keeper and a top professional, which is the perfect choice for the role that we needed to fill. Now, the plus sides of us re-signing Fabianski: he brings experience. He knows what it takes to play at West Ham. He's keen to help out, and we know what to expect from him. We've seen how he's played at West Ham, and it just takes a lot of those variables out that you have when you sign a new player, and it's always unknown. For example, we've signed Hermansen, and he hasn't hit the ground running in the way that we'd hoped, but we were feeling very positive. But we have seen what Fabianski does at West Ham, and it sounds as though he's now willing to take that back seat and really be in here as a backup. So there's that side of things. Now, I'm not saying this is the dream signing by any means, but given the situation that we find ourselves in, it does feel like a pretty wise move to me. Wes Foderingham left us this week, leaving us with Areola and Hermansen. Hermansen looks to be our top pick still, despite his rocky start at West Ham. And Areola is obviously fighting as well for that number 1 jersey. But bringing Fabianski back into the mix, it gives us more options. It makes it a little bit less scary if Hermansen was not to be our first choice. And I think that this is what we need, because my hope is Hermansen can continue after that clean sheet, feeling a bit more confident, performing a bit more sort of boldly, let's say, and going on to prove that those first performances at West Ham were one-offs, because conceding 8 goals in 2 games is obviously a shock. And everyone that was sat there in that stadium was obviously shocked and thought anyone but him at this moment in time between the sticks. But if the worst happens and we realise Hermansen is not the keeper that we hoped he would be, we can be back now to Areola and Fabianski as first and second choice. Thinking back to the times where we had Joe Hart and Roberto, we've all seen how bad it can be when you have a keeper that literally cannot do the job that they need to between the sticks. And while Areola and Fabianski might not be the most youthful, exciting, they might have criticisms about how quickly they get the ball out on the pitch, how they can play with the ball at their feet and what they do in terms of that, they're also not that bad. And especially given the position that we're currently in, perhaps that is a compromise where we try and rescue that side of things as much as we can, and obviously look to fix this next season if Hermansen is not the keeper that we hope. But my hope is still that we might have someone that's just had an absolute shocker of life, a start to life at West Ham, and that he's going to actually be able to prove the doubters wrong and show what he can do. And therefore, Fabianski was just sitting on the wings as a proper backup. So am I happy to see Fabianski return? Personally, yes. I spoke about this in today's Hammers headlines in a bit more detail, but I just feel it gives us the safety net that we need given Hermansen's start. I'm not saying we shouldn't have done better during the transfer window, but now the position that we're in, where the window has pretty much closed and we're looking at free agents and we're looking at offloading talent wherever we can, I feel like this is our best option to strengthen the side from exactly where we are, with an area that I am concerned about, because if Hermansen does not do well and we end up going to Areola, only having Hermansen as your backup is quite a worrying situation to be in if we've decided that he is not good enough to play in the Premier League. So this means we've got two options aside from him, and that's exactly what we needed to do. And my hope is that it will just take a little bit of pressure off him as well, because we've got options where we can switch things up. And I just hope that this will be a positive move for the club. Better yet, the signing of Fabianski has not cost us an absolute fortune. And we all know it is someone that's going to bring experience into a side that has said goodbye to a lot of players that have played a big part at the club over the years. I'm fully aware it might divide opinion in terms of what our dream transfer window would look like, and the fact that we wanted to kick on with the goalkeeper. Bringing back somebody a very short period of time after saying goodbye to move on to younger, youthful, more exciting keepers doesn't feel like a good move. However, if you were to say you were keeping those two keepers and bringing Hermansen, maybe that wouldn't have felt as bad. I feel like timing's been a big part of a lot of the struggles that I've had personally with the transfer window, in that if we did business a lot earlier and in slightly different orders, I probably wouldn't be as scared as I am right now. But let me know your thoughts, because that's what I'm really keen to hear. So drop a comment below. How are you feeling about Fabianski's return to West Ham? Like I said, I'm expecting it to divide opinion, but look down in the comments. Anyone that you're agreeing with, give a thumbs up. Let's get this conversation going, because that's what we really, really want to be doing this season. Let's get networking, quite literally, just like the West Ham Network logo. So, yeah, let us know your thoughts. It's going to be an interesting one. But before we wrap this up, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you've subscribed so you can keep up to date with everything that's happening at West Ham. Like I said, given this bit of news, I think it's a decent signing for where we are at this moment. My hope is that it just gives us a few more options. And if things don't go to plan with Hermansen, it will mean that we have two options of keepers that we know can do an okay enough job. Is it world breaking? No. Are we going to have the best keepers in the league? Probably not. However, better the devil you know. That's basically the saying I'm trying to say. He's not going to be the best keeper in the world if we have to rely on him, but do we know that he can do a decent enough job, albeit it's not going to be the most inspiring? Yes. And is the window shut, which makes it very difficult for us to get anyone that is not a free agent? And are there any incredible world-class goalkeepers that happen to be free agents? Not that I know of. But you might feel differently, so let me know in the comments. Anyway, just needed to come on here, give you all this update because we've heard the rumours about it. Fabianski is a hammer again. It has happened. It's the hokey cokey, in, out, in, out. And until next time, I'm going to run off. I'll speak to you all soon. Have a great day. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Smash the rest of the week. Till next time, come on you irons, and welcome Fabianski. He's really, really, really happy to be back. Come on you irons.